Today's Friday the 13th.
Oh my gosh, you're right.
And what we were discussing before this is how terrible bourbon cola is.
Kroger brand.
Oh, you bought, so it was Big K.
Maybe it wasn't Kroger brand.
But bourbon is
It
not
was
great
Bourbon
anyway,
Barrel
in my opinion.
Cola. It's nasty. Don't get it.
No alcohol. Not even going to get you drunk.
No, there's no alcohol in it. It's all the bad things about bourbon.
And none of the good.
It's reminiscent of bourbon in the same way that shoe leather is reminiscent of black pepper.
I guess that's a fair analogy.
Well, we've got some good news about Tesla. The Model 3s, which are the lesser expensive models from Tesla, they now have the Summon self-parking feature. So Summon, what is that?
What's the enchantment cost on this? What's
This
it?
is 5 mana.
Okay.
Well, it's 5 mana plus 1 mana for every 5 feet it is away from you.
It's an expensive, but with good CD management,
But it's worth
maybe
it.
make it worth it.
In before next week's headline, man's Model 3 drives through his garage door.
I bet that'll happen.
Or flaming Model 3 with no driver crashes into parade.
Some,
How many points you got to put destruction magic to get the fireball summon?
Summon is pretty cool. It's a pretty cool feature if you haven't seen it. There's a video somewhere of how this works, but your car can be parked in the garage and you can just go outside and hit the button and your car will open the garage door and back itself out and open the door.
And they talk about self-parking, so I wonder if self-parking will eventually, like an auto valet type of thing.
Oh,
You
yeah.
go to a restaurant. That'll be even cooler if we can do that someday.
Hear that, valets? Robots are coming for your jobs.
Right. Because, I mean, if you know that a restaurant would be happy to paint its parking lot in such a way that it would be easy for the Teslas, and that really would be the end of valets.
You actually, in a city, I would say that you could get probably 10 to 12% more parking because the cars could physically be parked such that you can't open the doors.
But what about, will we eventually get into a world where a busy city block has 50 Teslas circling it endlessly, waiting for a parking spot while you're in the building doing your banking or whatever?
Self-driving cars making traffic worse in cities?
Yeah.
Who could have predicted? Yeah, that's a prediction we've made several times before.
We'll see. We'll see when they actually start happening more often, like more cars more on the road.
Our next news topic genuinely excites me quite a bit because researchers have figured out the details of printer tracking dots and they have developed free software to defeat printer tracking dots. In case you didn't know, pretty much every printer under the sun prints microscopic dots that encode the printer's serial number, often the date and time the document was printed, and lots of other meta information about the print job to make it easier to track the source of documents, which is sort of bad if you need to write an anonymous letter.
This website kept a repository of what printers used tracking technology. They had like a blacklist of, ooh, stay away from these printers. And they actually stopped bothering and just put a disclaimer at the top that says all of them.
Pretty much all of them.
All printers are tracking. And we know from various court cases and police activities that they definitely use that to track what people can do. So they've got this cool new software that claims to counteract. So you can, if you want to whistle blow, you want to check this software out.
Or use an old Selectric typewriter.
Or cut the letters out of a magazine and glue them.
Send it from your new address of Manly Stubble.
Stubble
Manly.
manliness.
I keep hitting it backwards.
That was taken.
It is taken.
Data from the open source ancestry site GED Match.
Is it GED match or is it GED match?
It's all capitals. I'm going to say GED.
I like GED match better.
People have been arrested because somebody in your family has submitted their DNA profile to a website. And
That's how they caught the Golden State Killer. That was an incredible
Right, yeah.
case that broke earlier this year.
And that's, you want to tell people don't use DNA services because it might come back to haunt you. But I think a lot of these cases, it's just simply one of your family members uses it.
Yeah.
And that's enough. That's a terrifying world.
Because you can't protect yourself against your own family. Man,
Maybe unless you kill them all.
Like, that was the Golden State Killer's one mistake.
But yeah, this is one of those. GEDmatch doesn't do the DNA analysis, but once you use one of the other ones like Ancestry, they give you whatever it is, and you can upload it to this one.
Oh.
Seems like, I mean, it's hard to find a problem with that exactly, but at the same time, how, let's say that you're a police officer that has had a cold case for like 20 years and you find a match in somebody's family. I don't trust that the system is reliable enough that person wanting to just close a cold case won't just take the first vaguely matching DNA that they find.
Well, but those two were both cold cases, and one of them, the guy was already in prison, which maybe lends credence to his guilt. I think he was in prison for another murder.
Well, they caught me in that one, but they'll never catch me in the other one. I don't know. It might not. Maybe it's not terrible. I don't know. It just seems.
I think it's kind of terrible.
It's kind of terrible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How long before this kind of DNA profiling is used for things like parking infractions?
China.
I'll say UK, but
As soon as that medical thing gets started up in China, immediately.
I was thinking more like bubble gum on the sidewalk. It's like, oh, you're in New York City and somebody left bubble gum on the sidewalk, because I really can't stand bubble gum on the sidewalk. And it's like, should we build a national genetic database and then find somebody for having left bubble gum on the sidewalk? And it's like,
I don't know. Bubblegum's biodegradable.
is it?
yeah,
'Cause
it'll go away eventually.
It turns on into like the black spots. But then how much fun would it be to, get some DNA from somebody that you don't like and then put it in the bubble gum and then leave the bubble gum on purpose?
That seems like a lot of work.
Or-
You're overthinking it.
$500 fine. I mean,
What
it'd be
if you're drunk and you stagger over and you piss on the bubble gum?
fun. Yeah, that could be a problem.
And so you get blamed for the bubble gum when in reality, of course, urinating in public is also a crime. But here's the thing. Here's the scary thing. Here's a prediction, a level 1 prediction. In China, what if everybody with DNA like yours have really terrible social scores? And so they're like, we're not taking a chance.
Oh.
That will happen. Speaking of things that will happen, people will complain about things that they misunderstood but agreed to.
Good segue.
Google reportedly allows outside app developers to read people's Gmails. But when you install an app for Gmail, it's like, you're going to give this app permission to read and do stuff with your email. And then people are like, oh my God, it can read my email.
Well, joke's on them because my Gmail is like 90% spam letters, so read away.
You think it's the whole, the AI is doing marketing with your email. But they said in a lot of cases, it's literally people. And think about how horrible that job is. 'Cause you think it's all
It's all
like,
spam and chain forwards.
yeah, you think it's all like sexy emails and drama and stuff. No, most emails just boring.
As someone who gets a lot of email.
Yeah.
Can confirm.
Can confirm. Waymo in Arizona. Guess what? They're fully driverless. This story's really exciting, but I can't scroll. So you're going to have to go check it out on
yeah.
azcentral.com just because.
There are
AZ
videos of it.
azcentral.com is the website that always advertises leggings to us.
Yeah.
And we're not sure why.
Oh, it just crashed.
Their leggings ads have crashed it, but there were videos of it, and it literally is like there's someone's just sitting in the passenger seat and the car is driving itself.
Yeah, this is cool. So you can sign up. This is not just driverless cars testing and being empty or having employees in it. You can sign up and be part of this early rider program. And it's driverless
Beta
cars.
testing.
Yeah, they take you around.
Neat, because Arizona is apparently the place to be. for that.
Even after
Well,
the...
it's dry, it's flat.
Yeah, but they had the Uber
Yeah.
mishap.
Mishap.
But Waymo, I think, has a 100% record. They've had 3 accidents, all the other person's fault, one of which was a drunk driver.
Wow.
I know who I'd select.
The Waymo powered.
Waymo. Supporter of level 1 text. Just kidding. Anyway.
Yeah, they're way more reliable.
What a terrible but also amazing name. Much like most of the names that Google comes up with.
The
They
next
are
story,
clever, aren't they? Usually evil and clever go together. So I understand that.
The next story makes Wendell sad.
Robots and this is Business Insider. Robots are replacing waiters and delivering fresh seafood right to people's tables at Alibaba high-tech restaurant in Shanghai. So there's videos of this. You should go watch
There's-
the videos
Videos and just images showing the whole process.
because they explain it better. But apparently you can be like fish out seafood that you want to eat that goes in a fridge, and then the chef prepares it and sends it back to you via robot.
Kind of like a sushi belt sort of thing, except it's more customized and it's literally all automated.
Well, it's
except for the
like
cooking part.
a lot of Chinese buffets have the grill,
Yeah.
and you can go through and pick your seafood items, and they'll grill it in front of you. They don't do it in front of you here, but they deliver it on a robot, which is cooler,
Which, yeah.
objectively.
I would say I give this restaurant many points for all the automation, but I think that just based on the images, that it doesn't look like a very nice place to eat.
Well, it looks very sterile,
Yeah.
Yeah.
which I like. Yeah.
I don't know if I like that. Like, if I'm going to spend a lot of money on a meal, which I'm sure this stuff is expensive,
If there's open air seafood, I like that it's sterile.
I like that it's sterile.
Yeah.
Wendell can't eat certain types of seafood because it makes him sick. So this place he'll never be able to visit. Or you could,
But-
I guess, and take your chances, take an EpiPen.
You think this kind of restaurant would be successful if there were just cows and chickens roaming around?
That's kind of
What's,
horrifying.
what's the sales
It's like
pitch?
You choke the little chicken the life out of it.
Oh.
Dump it in a bag.
No, you have to cut off its head and then watch the body. It's like, oh, you could do headless chicken racing. It'd be like a kid's restaurant.
we had that in the no.
You're not going to tell us about that story. I know what it is.
The exciting thing there might be I was picturing mentally that you go on the like the iPad and you're ordering your stuff and it's like, oh, fried chicken, that sounds amazing, and as soon as you key in the order and hit OK, you hear a machine spin up in the background and then like a blood curdling chicken scream, and then you sort of the machine sort of wind down.
Or like there's just a glass thing in front of you and you get to see the guillotine come down on the chicken's neck.
You ever see the GIF where because the chicken farms don't take the male chicks, and there's a grinder?
Oh,
It's just like, oh, you want some chicken salad? You press the button.
Oh.
if you're a vegan, we have a story for you later in this episode.
There was it's fine.
If you grew up in Kentucky, are you gonna lead with rooster fighting? Is that
No, well, that's a thing too.
That's also a
No.
thing.
There was a video game called Redneck Rampage that had a chicken processing facility, and they'd put everything in the video game. It was pretty horrific.
But vegan, they're not cool with fish either, right?
no vegan, no animal, like that means no milk, no eggs, nothing, not
bet
even byproducts.
It's got to be tough to be a Japanese vegan, right? Or no, this was in Shanghai, right?
Shanghai, yeah, it's China.
Okay.
Well, yeah.
Okay.
They got more land. They could be more vegetable-y there.
You know what's coming to school near you? A school near you? I don't know. Higher education. I was going to say higher education, but this might be high school, so maybe that doesn't count.
These kids look pretty young.
Yeah.
More states are opting to robo-grade student essays by computer. What could possibly go wrong?
As it turns out, a lot. The guy who made this program was talking about how great it is and like, oh, it has a really good success rate. Like, we don't worry about it at all. And then there's literally like 4 or 5 different people from different places who are like, here's how I gamed the system.
Well, yeah, there's a guy who created a hilarious AI that will crank out really intelligent sounding essays just based on, you give it a couple of keywords and it comes up with just nonsense.
It's using the filler words that you're supposed to use.
Well, it uses related words and stuff
Yeah.
like that. And it sounds really good, except it's saying absolutely nothing.
It's all gibberish, yeah.
And it scores perfect on this thing every time. The guy defended it. The creator of the grading thing said, well, if you're this good at putting sentences together and using these big words, don't you deserve a high score? So it's like, well, you're completely ignoring, shouldn't the point of an essay be to present an idea?
Which is what the English teachers that were interviewed for this said.
Well, Timmy, we've got some news. You're going to fail English class, but we're going to give you a bachelor's of computer science.
Yeah. Well, I think there were instances too where they mentioned students had figured out like ways to get past it as well.
Yeah, it's basically purely sentence structure and grammar and
If your spelling's good.
how many syllables your words have, stuff like that. So why even have a writing class? I mean, it's purely mechanical.
Neat.
And that's something that any word processor could do for you.
But just, what this means? In about 10 years, our forums are about to get way worse in terms of post quality.
Yeah,
Just going to mash on the keyboard without using my words.
those guys are already good at using 5 paragraphs to say something that could be said in 5 words.
Forum.level1text.com.
MIT's music AI can identify instruments and isolate their sounds. So this is really sort of creepy. If you've got, now it doesn't work for similar instruments or same sounding instruments, but this AI can pick individual instruments out of a recording and make everything else less loud and make the particular instrument louder.
I got the idea. They didn't give examples, but I got the impression it was sort of like violin and cello. It couldn't tell apart.
Yeah,
but,
there's not examples of ones that are the same, but there's examples of the music though.
but I'm saying, like, in a rock band, there's nothing similar enough. Maybe like the rhythm guitar and the lead guitar. It doesn't,
Yeah.
But this is still amazing.
Yeah, it was really interesting. I mean, like the sound quality when it isolates them is not perfect, but you get an idea of like how it would sound one instrument or the other.
Yeah, I think it's geared toward musicians who are trying to reproduce their part in a piece of music.
Oh, we got to ask Brian about this.
Oh, yeah.
Brian's one of our Twitch viewers.
I'll get the impression that he would kind of crap on it because he's sort of a purist.
Yeah.
He's a little bit of an elitist when it comes to the old music.
He's not even going to know we're talking about it.
So I don't know if he watches the news.
I don't think he even watches the Twitch stream.
No.
Unless we're playing PUBG.
These robots are helping the National Health Service surgeons perform better, faster, and for longer. So, is that a Daft Punk reference?
I think it was trying to be, yeah.
So, there they go. There's the Daft Punk robots.
They look really threatening, don't they?
They
yeah,
do.
with the needles and
But
stuff.
this is what they call keyhole surgery, where instead of a big, horrible incision, they just make a hole. And then the doctor, like roots around in the hole like that. And it's supposedly really difficult for doctors because, like you're standing on this side and you're like, you got to go in here and then you got to lean over. But these little guys make it super easy. And they can tie a knot inside that hole.
They described in the article, like, just taking... They practice with, like, sponges and stuff, and, like, they just do it very deftly.
We're going to insert a sponge in your thoracic cavity and then remove it very carefully.
Yeah, but the idea is surgeries get less invasive, less recovery, and it takes a much lower level of surgeon to be able to perform them, which... But you also got to wonder, like, the power goes out.
That's what I was just thinking.
There's the bombs drop, and none of the surgeons know how to do surgery anymore.
Yeah, transient lack of electricity, I don't think would be a problem. Lack of infrastructure due to solar flare, a little bit more problematic. Just throwing that out there.
It's a troubling thought.
There's going to be that one surgeon who resists the robots, and everybody thinks he's a whack job, but then he becomes the hero.
Like us.
I don't think we're really resisting the robots.
I
Wendell,
don't
you're on
know that
Twitter all
we've
day.
done anything to deserve.
No.
No, we're not like that.
2/3 of secondhand memory cards contain data from previous owners. This is a nothing burger. It's like used computers. People don't know how to delete stuff.
Well, these
Not too
guys,
surprising.
they wanted to write a paper, so they bought a bunch of used memory cards and recovered the data, and most of them had data. Nudes.
Neat.
Zero your memory cards after you shoot your nudes. That's the public service.
Maybe we should do a video on that, like how to zero your memory cards properly, how to erase flash memory properly, because most people don't realize. It's like, I'm going to use erase in the camera. That's good enough, right?
Maybe like a 5-minute video. I guess that would probably be good.
Well, you
People
wouldn't
like
have,
short videos,
It
right?
wouldn't just have to be memory cards. I mean, the process is going to be the same for all of your storage needs.
Let us know in the comments below.
Woo! Hackers have stolen millions of customers' data from the Adidas website. Adidas wants to emphasize, well, they didn't get the credit card or health data.
But they did get the passwords and someone could log in, and it seems like,
They got literally everything else.
yeah.
All day, I dream about stolen customer data.
That was a slogan joke for Adidas, right?
Does Adidas have a slogan?
No, but there's a song.
That's the Adidas song.
Well, no,
It's not an Adidas song. I imagine it's a rapper song.
no.
Oh.
But it's all day I dream about sex
Oh.
and the song.
That's what that's
Get
for.
it?
Yeah, because it's the Adidas stuff. So
That's what you call an acronym.
I don't know what's going on. It's Saturday. It's a weird day. Everything feels weird. It's already been weird because
Well-
we were all off Wednesday.
You know who else doesn't know what's going on? Samsung customers.
If you got an S9 or an S9 Plus, I've got some bad news. You may have been sending photos to random people in your contact list. Samsung phones are spontaneously texting users' photos to random contacts without their permission. This is on Circuit Breaker. I've seen other reports of this saying that the Samsung Contacts app, when it takes over your messaging and does all that, is sending the pictures without you even asking. It just is sending to random contacts. So, not really sure what's going on.
Someone's going to be getting a ton of pictures of Rue. Just my dog. Actually, I don't have an S9, so it's not a problem for me. But
Maybe this is like they're just trying to create contacts, sort of like a social experiment. Let's get people talking.
No.
maybe they just upload the photos to a giant feed.
They have admitted, though, that something might be wrong, and they're working on it. And they suggest that you revoke the permission from your messaging app to look at your pictures in the meantime, which is going to be tough for sending nudes, I know.
Sometimes sacrifices have to be
You
made.
do have to make sacrifices.
And that means not revoking privileges so you can continue to send nudes. That's the sacrifice.
How confident are you in your nudes, right? Let the world see.
But don't ask for support on Patreon.
Oh,
That's not allowed.
Here's a question. What if your nudes go to a minor because of Samsung?
Oh, wow.
Who's to blame?
Definitely
You,
Samsung.
you think a court is going to believe you
No.
when you're like, no, this said itself.
Phones don't do that. It's like, well, not
But
when
it did, though.
It's
You
terrible
are-
programming. Just terrible programming.
Exhibit A, this video in the courtroom. That'll help our engagement.
Download bombs are making a comeback. So the download bomb technique affects not just Google Chrome, which is sort of surprising, but also Firefox, Vivaldi, Opera, and Brave. So a download bomb is when you go to a bad website and it pops up like you're going to download a file, but you're actually going to download hundreds of thousands of files. And most browsers have protections built in to stop a web page from initiating multiple file downloads. Well, there's a way around it. PSA.
I'm not surprised that Chrome would also get hit with that.
Well, they fixed it, and then they broke it again in a recent version. So I'm sure it'll be a quick fix to put it back. But for now, those scammers, they're going to be using it.
In case you need a reminder that assistants like Alexa and Siri are not actually, the beginnings of mankind's creation of a sentient AI, you need look no further than this story about Siri erroneously telling people that Stan Lee was dead. Why was Siri doing that? Because somebody edited his Wikipedia page to say that he died on July 2nd.
You have to think there's always has to be a source of information, and with the internet, the source can always be wrong.
But what kind of person? I think there should be a series of documentaries about people who just do this kind of weird stuff. Like, why would you put that Stan Lee is dead on Wikipedia?
Because you have nothing else to do. It's summer vacation. There's kids out of school right now.
Professional troll.
Why would you tell why would you queue up with 3 people and then get a random person in your team in PUBG and then repeatedly put a marker in the wrong part of the map just to see if they drop before you do?
That's a social experiment. This is just chaos.
There's no explanation.
Although, you have to give Siri a little bit of leeway here. That's a pretty believable story. Stanley.
Yeah.
He's like
He's
a million years old.
Yeah, he's. I feel like he's having such a good time that it's keeping him going.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably.
I've heard that's the key to it from people who are
He's
very
having
rich.
a rich sunset in his life. Which, he deserves it. He deserves that Disney money.
Zenio offers AI, I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, that predicts customer behavior with scary accuracy. So yeah, if you're in marketing, you just perked up. Because, the holy grail that you've been promising your customers, like AI, to figure out what all this marketing stuff means, and we've been vacuuming up terabytes and terabytes of data for no apparent or logical reason, but we're going to throw AI at it and get a solution. Well, these guys have figured it out. And you know what their accuracy is? About 40%.
Well,
It's better than what marketers are currently. So
I think if you work in marketing, you might have already been perked up. Percocet.
perk 30s, as we say here in the mountains.
The pain comes from inside.
But the 40% is actually pretty impressive, considering that most people hate marketing and it's difficult. A lot of these, I guess we wouldn't entirely associate marketing with spam and scammers. Maybe. But if those guys get like 1%, they're
Yeah.
happy. So 40%?
Yeah,
That's pretty good.
yeah. It's surprising that the AI has been this good. I wonder what sort of data it requires and what it's doing exactly to manipulate a decision. Because it's like, I'm in the market for a new laptop. Is the AI smart enough to know that I'm in the market for a new laptop and it's going to target me specifically? Or is it going to take somebody that's not in the market for a new laptop and convince them that they should be?
No, I think
because of
it's
improvements and whatever.
I think it's entirely predictive. It's looking at old information and trying to decide what you want next. It's not really influencing you.
It's going to be interesting to see if we get more data out of this. They secured some funding and some other venture capital-y type stuff. So I'd say we'll see more of them in the news if their product is as effective as claimed.
They've got like predictive AI and marketing in the title. It's going to be an avalanche of money.
To the moon!
Yeah.
Yeah. DeepMind's AI agents exceed human-level gameplay in Quake 3 Arena. And they've got a graph. They show how much better than they are even than a good human player. Yeah, so, strong human player.
Literal bots.
Now they did simplify the Quake 2 game a little bit to dumb it down.
And they randomized the maps
For the
as well,
bots.
so they wouldn't learn
And-
just a specific map.
Yeah, and DeepMind was good when the whole team was DeepMind, but when it had to interact with other humans, it tanked really quickly because
So it's like me.
Just right back down.
You think maybe the DeepMind players spent too long looting?
Could be.
Got
Could-
caught
could
by
be
the
a
blue every
Repeated
match.
issue.
thing. Every single match, yeah. Could be a thing.
Team killed someone.
So,
But you didn't kill him. You downed him.
our next story, I thought of a joke, but it's a terrible joke. It's a Rocky joke. Adrian. I can't do it. I don't know. But that's the name of the robot.
That was good.
But wait, isn't it Harridan?
Oh, is it? I was pronouncing it Hadrian.
You might be right. Where is it?
I don't remember. Hadrian.
Oh, you're right. Yeah, Hadrian.
It's something.
It's a bricklaying robot. It's hypnotic. It really is
It
hypnotic.
is fun to watch.
The cool thing about this, because remember Bricky?
Yeah.
The Bricky was
Not
just
this.
this was like Bricky was like Stone Age compared to this guy. He's got that stabilizing effect. Like if you ever look at owls when people move 'em around, or when a cat when it's
chicken.
wiggling its butt, getting ready to pounce, it's got that. And so when you watch it build, the arm and the front piece is perfectly stable, which makes it amazing to look at.
The only thing that gave me any kind of reservation or pause on this was, the demo building that they're doing here is without any kind of mortar and reading
No,
the
no,
document.
no. Look at that. That's the mortar right there. Did you see that?
It's industrial glue. It's not actually mortar.
Well, you could probably replace that with mortar.
They said that it's actually better than mortar and that it has better thermal and acoustic properties compared with mortar. Those are also not normal cinder blocks. There's something made specifically for this thing.
So you're saying my tiny house could be built with these blocks?
I'm saying if you get this thing to build a house, the cost difference between tiny house and mega mansion is going to be negligible.
Yeah, this guy,
Fun to
and
watch.
they've already tested him in an outdoor scenario in weather, and he did fine. And yes, we've gendered him.
He can build in the rain. He doesn't care.
What's the meme where it's like the two, the guy your girl says not to worry about? It's like Bricky and then his name, Hadrian.
AOL Instant Messenger is back from the dead. Not really. Not at all, actually.
Yeah.
But some people have resurrected it so that you can run the AIM client on some third-party, not America Online servers. Your buddy list is not there. Your username is not there. But you can sign up for a new
Seems a
account.
little bit like a scam, but what do we know?
This seems like a nothing burger of a story, but hey, if you want to be nostalgic with an old-ass AIM client, you can.
Yeah, if you want to use 10-year-old chat technology, you have that right. But you
Or
probably
just
should.
get on Discord, even though Discord probably isn't much.
Yeah, Discord, it's got some problems.
The heroin trade is becoming Uberized in Mozambique. So yeah,
Look at that logo.
That's a good logo.
That's pretty good.
that doesn't seem like a good idea.
It's like a Pac-Man, but also a syringe. Yeah, so
It's
the
heroin.
idea is in Mozambique, normally you bribe politicians to move heroin. But they've discovered that you can just use an app to get all of the boat guys and the farmers and whoever to move your heroin on a smaller micro scale, one at a time. and it's easy to manage, and everybody gets paid, and everybody's happy.
Neat.
Are you saying cutting out the government made it more efficient?
Yeah, as is always the case. And they're getting that heroin right through Mozambique, sending it out wherever it needs to go.
Well, and as you know, the more fresh the heroin is, the better it tastes. Someone who eats a lot of it.
I think it's more about how many times it's been cut. I don't know if freshness plays that much into it.
I don't know anything.
That'd be funny if we started doing vintages for heroin. It's like, I'll have the 96 black tar.
Black tar. In a spoon, please. Silver spoon.
Our next
Hot.
story went viral, and I don't know why. Plug spreading is an abomination, and it must end today. This story has been shared everywhere. And plug spreading? What the hell are they talking about? Plugs that take up more than one plug physically.
That's very annoying to me, and I was glad that someone finally addressed
It
the
is.
issue.
It's a stupid thing because it's been solved. Because the plug itself, the rectifier can just be down the line a little bit,
Yeah.
and that's
Like,
yeah, it's ridiculous. I don't know why anybody would do this.
Nintendo, that's the Nintendo Switch adapter, I guess. So it's just a terrible mess.
Well, the Nintendo Switch is just USB-C, but they do have a stupid adapter.
Well, and then as someone who I like the little wallflowers and stuff that you get to put into your house to make your house smell good. Those always take up a ton of space too.
Well, that makes a little more sense because don't they have like oil in them and stuff?
Sometimes, yeah, but not always. You'd think that they could find a way to make them more compact.
Maybe put a little stem on it,
Yeah,
like a flower.
like a flower.
That was a good idea for a new invention.
Sometimes we think movie studios violate their own copyrights just to raise a stink or do something terrible. Well, whether stupidity or malicious, Sony has uploaded the entire Kali the Killer movie instead of the trailer to YouTube.
I don't even know what this movie is.
Well,
but now
I don't
do.
know if that's because no one's ever heard of this or just 'cause we've never heard of any movies. Could go either way.
Let us know.
They've removed it from the YouTube channel, but as you know, things on the internet, you can find it everywhere in full HD quality.
You know, it's funny because they'll probably go after somebody who caught it on YouTube and recorded it and put it on a piracy site. Like they would totally sue them for that.
So I just format shifted it.
Yeah, I get the impression that Kali the Killer might not be the most popular movie in the world, but I don't know.
They were just supposed to upload a trailer for DVD release.
Well, it's a damn inexpensive guerrilla marketing campaign to do what they did.
That was suggested by the article, but it seems unlikely that they would release the full film on YouTube and then try to sell you a DVD.
Yeah, but it's a couple hours. How many views is that really going to be?
Yeah, it's not really a lot. I'm sure YouTube, Google has got the stats on that for them.
Oh,
so
yeah. Do you think they made some AdSense dollars?
we gave the movie away and no one still cared.
I don't know why. Kali the Killer sounds amazing.
Yeah, well, the plot sounded like, the most basic movie in the universe. It's just a revenge story.
The AI, we're always making fun of AI going wrong. The AI gets it wrong for obvious reasons a lot of the time. Facebook thought the Declaration of Independence quotes from the Declaration of Independence were hate speech.
Now, we were, we got all up in arms about this. It's July 4th. Tempers were running high. And the
Those
passage,
colors don't run.
passage it flagged, as it turns out, is definitely, by today's standards, a little bit racist. So,
Yeah, it's something about the heathen Indians.
yeah.
Well-
The savages, I think, was the exact wording.
Facebook never actually confirmed what it was that set off the filter.
Well, that was pretty suspicious, that line.
Yeah.
To be fair, there was some tension back in those days between the natives and the founding fathers.
What's the best way to bring attention to a nuclear site that may not have the best security? Would you have guessed flying a drone into the nuclear plant?
A Superman drone?
Yeah, they literally made a Superman drone and flew it in here.
It looks like it was Superman's lower half with some kind of adhesive to make it, which is hilarious. Look at that.
We included this article literally, like, when we were sorting articles, Ryan was like, we included this one for the photo.
Yeah,
This is at a French nuclear site.
But they have done things. Last year, they fired fireworks at this nuclear plant.
Oh, well, obviously.
Yeah.
As one does.
So
You know.
the whole
safety
idea
demand.
is to point out how vulnerable the nuclear plant is. But the people that run the nuclear plant are like, listen, you could shoot this with rockets and it's fine. Greenpeace wants, this was a spent fuel rod containment facility. Their demand is all of those need to be in underground bunkers.
That seems.
Well, they did get the drone through security. So if the drone was carrying high explosives,
Yeah. And they admitted to it, obviously, and so the nuclear facility was like, yo, that's a crime. And the authorities were like, yeah, we're going to go get him.
somebody's going to spend 30 years in jail.
You're not allowed to
for
do
proving
it.
a point.
Yeah. Hope it was worth it.
Here in the U.S., we've had sort of an interesting ruling regarding higher education in our school system. A U.S. court has ruled that Detroit students have no right to access literacy. And this is not a state court. I think this was a federal court.
This is in Detroit, where if you're not hip to what's going on in Detroit, maybe you're an international viewer, it's nothing good.
Detroit used to be the seat of automotive manufacturing in America. That has since collapsed and scaled back dramatically.
Yeah.
But the infrastructure and all of the stuff that's in Detroit has not, like, it still costs just as much to run that infrastructure, but there's nobody there to pay any taxes to do anything.
Yeah, this is the same state that has poisonous water.
Yeah.
So what's going on here is the schools are so underfunded and broken down that they literally talk about how one of these students said that they had perfect memory of the movie Frozen. Like they could tell you the entire script because they'd seen it 80 times. Because they just stuff them in a room and turn on movies. It's basically, just warehousing kids for the day. So some of these people sued and said, hey, I'm illiterate, and that proves that the school system is a failure. And the judge ruled literacy is not guaranteed.
That sounds like a great title of a movie.
That could be the title of this episode.
Maybe we can give some international aid to...
I mean, on one hand, it's like you can lead a horse to water. You can
That's
lead a
very true.
student
There's a
to
lot.
education, but if a kid doesn't want to learn, there's nothing you can force them to do.
There's a lot of gang activity in Detroit, and a lot of these kids are, fighting, and the teachers are probably not completely to blame. And I take a very libertarian view of the world. It's like, hey, teach your own kids to read. You ever think about that? Don't depend on the state to do something. But at the same time, a lot of state and federal dollars are being dumped into these schools. And what are we getting for it?
Exactly.
We're paying taxes so kids can watch Frozen.
Can we turn the lawsuit around then and be like, because there is no literacy and because it's not guaranteed, can I stop paying taxes on that?
That would be fantastic.
That's the issue.
You know what else would be fantastic? Vegan electricity. This is the next big thing. I want to invest. No, I don't. Ecotricity announces the world's first vegan electricity. So
The surprising thing about this story is how much electricity comes from animals.
Or just animal byproducts.
Well, yeah, if you have a farm, the hot new thing is to collect all the poop and leavings and stuff, sort of like a compost, and you put it in one of these methane bleeders, and it generates electricity. And also, somehow, like the corpses of some of the dead
Animals.
pigs or something, they turn that into electricity. I don't know how that works.
So is that vegan? Like if you have the salmon, there was a bunch of dead salmon.
Yeah, salmon.
And so like if you have a bunch of dead salmon and they were already dead not through any action or inaction that you took, but you're going to use the corpses to generate electricity, it seems to me that
No.
would still be vegan.
Because it's from a farm. Farms themselves are not vegan.
So, but if there was like an algal bloom and we used the methane from that would be vegan?
No, because we probably caused it.
See, I feel like, there's going to be farms regardless of your own personal choice. And it seems like using every possible part of the process of making meat or whatever, you'd
No.
want to utilize that to in turn make other things such like electricity.
No, Krista. The animals are not here to serve us.
Maybe not, but that's how we use them.
I think it's fantastic
Yeah.
that we're recycling some of these farm products and making electricity. That seems wonderful.
Yeah, waste product. Like it literally just get dumped in a pile somewhere.
Literal shit. We are taking literal shit and turning it into power for my tablet. Think about what a world we live in.
We're living in
And
the
they want to
future.
take that away from you.
What's even more amazing is that there's a market for vegan electricity.
I don't know
that
who's
is more
buying it
surprising.
because you don't. Most places you don't have a lot of electrical providers. Like you can't pick and choose. So how do you market this? Do you market this to like a municipality? And that's you can't just bottle up electricity and sell it in different markets. It's whatever's closest to you. So
It sounds like it might be a scam. Like, healing crystals.
they've got like a big burner, a turbine in the back, and they're just pitchforking chickens into it.
It's totally vegan.
It's just feral cats. They don't even burn efficiently, but that's what they do.
Who wants to bring us into our next?
We can't.
It's the BBC News. The BBC News has a headline
This
here.
Rang Gape.
This is such a nothing burger. This is ridiculous.
Some parent freaked out over what she thought she saw, but she didn't see what she thought she saw.
So Roblox is apparently kind of like Minecraft.
Yeah.
It's like a creative building game, and it's multiplayer, and people are on there. So this woman was observing her young daughter playing this game, and the daughter was surrounded by other Roblox robots.
Dudes, yeah.
And she felt that there might have been group sex. That's what we'll call it. Unsolicited group sex might have been going on in the Roblox world.
But
It seems to me the real question is your kid is 7 and you've been leaving them unsupervised in an online game.
But I'm sure that Roblox does not give you the means in the game through emotes or any other way to simulate unsolicited group sex. So what kind of mental leap did this woman take that she saw a circle in an online game and her mind immediately went there? Like what?
I wonder if she was clutching her pearls the entire time.
Maybe was it like there was not this article's a little scant on details. Was there something in the chat that indicated like
Maybe, I don't know, but she was very up in arms, and the Roblox people took it very seriously.
well they kind of have to because they're marketing toward
guess.
children. So
You got to wonder if some of the people working there is like they roll their eyes and they're like, "This is ridiculous." But you know what? I'm just not even going to say anything. I'm just going to turn this off because I've seen this story play out. I know how this story ends. I'm just going to be like, "Oh, thanks for bringing that to our attention. We're just going to." Sounds good. And they die a little bit more inside and weep for the future
have
of
you tried
humanity.
maybe monitoring your child when they play an online game instead of
Yeah,
just letting
that's-
them
but
play
they
for
don't wanna-
hours every week?
They don't want to hear that. That literally, I've made that comment before on the news, and we got angry comments like, "Do you know how much time it would take for me to monitor my child? I don't have time for that." It's like, what?
Well, then
Don't
find
breed. Yeah.
Or find a game that if your kid wants to play it, they can play single player offline.
Or lock your child in the bathroom and just leave them there.
Don't do that.
That's how you end up with broken plumbing, Ryan. Can't do that.
This is a follow-up kind of from an older story
Is
from
it?
about a year ago. There's a Russian guy that murdered his friend, also another Russian guy, in an argument about which graphics card is better, NVIDIA or AMD. And
This same story plays out on our forum
Now wait,
every day.
but let's stop. Pause the video and comment below. Do you think it was AMD or NVIDIA who was the killer?
like the pro NVIDIA guy or the pro AMD guy.
Turns out it was the NVIDIA guy.
Me trying to do a drum roll.
He's been sentenced to what, like 20 years?
That makes
It was
sense.
a pretty violent killing. Like, and it
Maybe
wasn't
It was 7 years because they were extremely drunk.
Yeah.
So they gave him.
some leeway, but it was like I think he like choked him out and then he stabbed him
Stabbed him after he was
after
already
he
dead.
was dead.
So, wow.
That's an aggravating.
He
factor.
bleeds. Do you think that guy bled green?
No.
No.
Well, not because he supported AMD, but because he's Russian.
That sounds right. The next story is it's everything you ever hoped for. Representing the family.
We talked about the Australian facial recognition, and then last week we talked about the UK biometric database. We talked about China, their facial recognition. And if you're security minded, how would you get around it? How would you defeat it?
The answer is whoop whoop.
Juggalos have figured out how to beat facial recognition. So, what? Can someone explain to me what a juggalo is?
Are you down with the clown one?
You know what it Are you telling me you
You
don't know
know
what
what
a
a
I
juggalo
juggalo.
definitely
You've
know
watched
it.
that documentary.
There's like 7 people in Europe that are like, "What is happening here?"
Well, they're
the
going to
Insane
have
Clown
a
Posse.
magical YouTube journey right after this
Yeah.
when they search for that, because there's so much good video content about the juggalos.
What was
So,
the name of
yeah.
that documentary that we used to watch? Oh,
I don't remember. There's several though. But scroll
Yeah.
down. So the secret to the Juggalo face paint, the bottom right, the guy in the bottom right there, it's the fact that it's between the chin and the bottom of the lip, because that's where the AI builds your face. And when you trick it like that, it can't figure out who you are. Now the regular goth makeup to the left of that, that's fine. Facial recognition gets that all day long. It's only the juggalos that it doesn't understand.
This is also a first generation facial recognition that has since been defeated. Like the first generation, that type of face paint was effective on first generation face recognition, but is no longer effective.
And the other one is just Tom Cruise, who is a robot.
yeah. Well, so of course they recognize their own.
Right.
God, look at that jawline. Damn.
Have you seen the picture
No.
of? It's the girl that was in Top Gun with Tom Cruise, and there's a picture of him now and a picture of her now, and she's an old lady.
And Tom Cruise still looks
He's
like
the
Tom Cruise.
same. He's
Well-
exactly the same.
When you have millions of dollars to just spend on, healing
Nah,
crystals and ointments.
it's the Scientology magic.
Oh, obviously.
Yeah, he's clear. He's 100% clear.
Tom Cruise.
Are there
saying
any
with
ju-
witchcraft?
Are there any Scientologist juggalos? Seems like that would be a thing.
No, that's a
No,
conflict.
no,
That's two
juggalos-
religions. You can't.
Oh, I wonder if in the UK you could put down juggalo as a religion in order to beat the face recognition system.
For a while, Juggalo was a recognized prison gang,
Yeah.
and they took it to the Supreme Court and got it invalidated.
It's gonna bother me until I can think of that name of the documentary because it is wonderful.
There's
and
already
hilarious.
300 comments with the title of about 7 different documentaries on the Insane Clown Posse and
I'll have to watch it again. I haven't watched it in a few
related accoutrement.
I wonder, because the Insane Clown Posse was big when I was in high school. So these guys are getting up there in years. How old are they going to be running around in that makeup?
How did it work to find for ZZ Top?
years. Yeah, they'll probably just keep doing it. They're rolling in dough,
Kiss.
doing the gathering. every
Work
year.
for ZZ Top does not wear makeup. They have the beards.
Oh, yeah, okay. But you knew what I was talking about because you know me that well. Yeah, Gene Simmons doesn't look good without makeup.
Does he with?
He looks better. I mean, all right, we'll see you next week.
Bye.